Okay, well, it's been 2 weeks since our last session, so welcome back. And thank you for coming. We have a nice large crowd this morning, including many of our new trainers who went through our Train the Trainer program recently. So welcome to them too. As is always the case, we're hoping that you bring us a lot of good questions for these sessions. That's really what our main focus is to be here as a resource to you and answer any questions that you have. When submitting questions, use the chat feature. That is the way that we will see those questions quickly. And again, any question on any topic is acceptable, so send us anything. And what we also do is then go through and provide any trending updates, issues, things that we want to make you aware of. So I don't think this will be a very long session, but let's go ahead and get started. So everything remains the same with our project status. We are continuing to work with agencies as they're going live with SAP and assisting agencies as they're revising all of their various business processes. So we've really moved out of a lot of focus on overall go live and are really now getting into our ongoing operational support. As you probably know, we have some position openings here. We're in the process of hiring additional staff. So if you're not getting responses as quickly as you might have been for a while, we're working to resolve that. But do bear with us, and we will get you responses as quickly as we can. But always remember, let's see, I've got information here. Let me see. I have information from someone that they're not hearing audio. So if anyone does not have or can hear me, please confirm that. I wanted to see. No one out there is able to hear me. So, okay. Oops. Yeah, so there are quite a number of you who are able to hear. Thank you. You have me worried there a minute. Let me let those folks that are not hearing me. Okay, so that it must be something on their end. So. Great, thank you. So anyway, as I was saying, we're hiring additional staff, getting ready to bring them on, and so you should start seeing more rapid response. So bear with us while we get through that phase. Couple of issues that have come up, and we've had some questions on. And one of the things that I just wanted to share as a general reminder, it may or may not be something that you deal with on a regular basis, or maybe it's something that you weren't fully aware of. But shipping addresses, we had some questions come up recently. If we're going to ship to multiple addresses, do we, we're doing multiple purchase orders in BidBuy, is that the right way to do it? And the answer to that is probably not. So BidBuy does have that capability. If you're going in and you're placing an order and you want to ship to multiple addresses, you have the ability to do that all on a single purchase order. And so essentially what you do at that point is you have the option of adding your shipping addresses either at the header level in that main area where we have all of our main tabs, and there's the address tab, and you can go in and you can add your ship to and your bill to addresses at that header level. However, if you have multiple items and you want to send them to multiple addresses, for each line item that you select, you can specify the specific shipping address. So let me go ahead and pull up BidBuy for you. My computer seems to be operating a little slowly this morning. Okay, more than a little slowly. My computer is operating very slowly. Let me try and come out here on IE. As everyone knows, our preference is to work in Chrome, but since Chrome is not cooperating this morning, I'll go ahead and should be able to show you everything that you need to see using Internet Explorer. Okay. Okay, so I am out here and I'm just going to pull up a bid so I can show you specifically what I'm talking about. So up here on the header level is where you generally add your addresses. That's if you have a single address, ship to, bill to. And so the same thing that's true for being able to use multiple shipping addresses is also true for being able to use multiple billing addresses. So you have a great deal of flexibility. When you are selecting, if you know you're going to be selecting at the item level, up here you will also have the option, you should have the option, to indicate at your header level that you'd like to use various addresses. And the reason that we added that option for you is that you can go out and when your purchase order prints, you can select my shipping as various addresses, and that will instruct the vendor to look at the item level and see the specific shipping addresses for each item. And so that has worked really well. The shipping addresses will print on the print purchase order for each individual item. So let me go out here and see. So here's an example of a line item, and here's a specific line item. If I wish for this line item to specify the shipping address, I come out here to items, I pick the sub-tab of address, and now I can go through and look at every single item and select the specific ship to and bill to addresses for each line item. And, you know, one of the benefits of being able to do this, obviously it's more streamlined. You're creating a single purchase order instead of having to create multiple versions. And you also have the benefit of having the correct approval path. So rather than doing, let's say, you know, 5 different procurements and they're, you know, $10,000 each or $9,000 each, now you have one procurement at $45,000 going to this particular vendor with different shipping addresses. And now your correct approval paths are going to hit because you have everything on a single purchase order. So hopefully that's helpful. The main takeaways at the header level, when you're going to use multiple, select the address that is specific, or select the various addresses, and then go into your line items and you can individually select your addresses. So let me know if you have any questions on that, if that's new to you, or if you're already using it, then hopefully it's very familiar to you. The other thing that we wanted to talk to you about is the posting of exempt notices. So there was a CPO notice that provided some specific details regarding posting of exempt notices. We have updated the job aid for that process. Some of you may have experienced as we rolled that out and agencies started posting out the required postings for their exempt notices, we ended up having a slowdown in emails going out of the system. And so we weren't sure what was causing that. And we did some investigation and we determined that the cause of that was the exempt notice instructions that send out an email to all vendors in the system when we are posting out an exempt notice. And that was causing the system to send out 10,000 emails at once, and it was slowing down and bogging down the entire system. So If you're going to post exempt notices, the main change that has occurred is that you do not send it out to all vendors. So essentially what the instructions now say, and this is a specific language right from the job aid, is on your bidders tab, you're going to look up, if you desire, you look up and add vendors, and you would select those by the relevant NIGP code. And we have a note in there, do not send it to all 10,000 vendors in BidBuy, don't send them. You would go ahead and then do a save and exit after you've selected your limited number of vendors that you were going to send an posting notice to if you wish to, and then you would hide your bid holders list on the vendor side and click save and continue. So here are the options that are available to you when you are posting an exempt notice. One is to change the bid status to send and notify vendors, and the other is to change the bid status sent only. So if you send to a large group of vendors, it will result in an overall system email blaze. We're talking all emails going out of the system. So if you change your bid status to that sent and you notify vendors, that will send an email to all the vendors, and it's only used in the case of a small group of vendors. You also have the option of changing your bid status to sent only. That's probably the recommended approach if you're, especially if you're just attaching, a long list of various procurements and you're not necessarily wanting to send that directly to a small group of vendors or a specific set of vendors, but you really just want to post it out there and make it publicly available. That would be your option to select. So change your bid status to sent only. And it's not going to send out an email. It's what you use when you really want to publicly post it. And if you did include any vendors on the bidders tab, a notice will appear in the seller account of those vendors that you included. So if you do include them, but you change it to sent only, the main difference is everyone's going to be able to publicly see it. Anyone on the list is going to be able to see it in their seller account once they're logged in, and it will publicly post out. And then after it publicly posts out, it's going to be searchable from the public-facing page and searchable by anyone who wishes to find it. So if that is not clear, I just did have a question come through. Someone said, what is an exempt notice? So there was a CPO notice that went out with regards to the required posting, of a notice for procurements conducted by an agency that are exempt from the procurement code. So there are specific types of procurement. All that information is contained on the CPO website. If you're not familiar with the requirements for the posting of exempt procurements, please go out and read that CPO notice, and that will provide you with all the details. Trainer resources. One of the things that I wanted to point out, just as we went through with the job aid for exempt procurements, we make frequent updates to all of our training materials, the PowerPoints, the process manuals, the job aids, and sometimes, and many times, they're minor clarifications. So we get a question about some of the wording, in the materials, and we'll go in, and based on that feedback, we'll make a change. But sometimes they're more significant. And like we said, in any given week, we are updating and revising materials to make them the most useful and the clearest that we possibly can. Everyone knows you write something down, you think it makes perfect sense, and then you read it a couple days later, and you're like, I'm not even sure what I meant here. So we're always trying to update it, make them better. When you are going to use any of the training materials, the most current, the most update is what is posted out on the trainer support website. So if, back when you went to train the trainer, you posted, you printed out all your materials, you've made some notes along the way, please check for updates. Please go out and take a look. And when you're using any of those training materials, especially if you're delivering training, make sure that you're using the latest, greatest versions, because chances are very good that there will be updates. That's everything that I have in our kind of new trending issues. You know, our end user support process, just please continue to make sure that all the users at your agency are starting with you as the trainer to answer any questions, and then working through the list, the APO, the SPO, and then eventually the help desk. And that helps us to make sure that we can get to everyone quickly. And the other thing, just a reminder, is when you are sending something to the help desk, you know, copy the APO and the SPO and anyone else that needs to be included in that communication so that everyone is, you know, seeing the same questions and getting the same answers. You know, do continue going through your business processes and evaluating them, you know, especially as it relates now to, you know, changes you may have related to SAP and your accounting functions, you know, internal documents that may need to be changed. Hopefully, you know, it's resulting in streamlining and reduction of additional or duplicate documents. So please continue to do that. I know that everyone continues to work on their approval paths. Continue putting in your agency contracts if you have not completed that, and reviewing those and doing a quality assurance check on those. I know training is ongoing out of the agencies. Thank you very much for that. And then ultimately and forever make sure that your registrations and deactivations are up to date in BidBuy. And, you know, our advice for that always is to loop in your HR department to make sure that that's, you know, just part of the standard process when folks are changing positions. All of our help desk options remain the same, so there's nothing new there, and especially information as it relates to locations for details on ERP are located in here, but there haven't been any changes to that. And then our alternative forms, if you're having any trouble using the PDF forms in BidBuy, be sure to let us know. Chances are we can give you a couple of quick things to do that will fix any problems that you're having. But if you need in the short term to access an alternative PDF version of a form, we have those available out there for you. Still working on that BET training. It just keeps hanging there. And so it should be scheduled. I have ongoing meetings going on all the time, so stay tuned for that. That really is a process that should be coming soon. And it looks like I have a number of questions that have come in, which is great. Let's go up here. Okay. Someone said, is the NOA form required for exempt procurements? It's not clear from the job aid. No, the notice of award form is not required for the required posting of exempt procurements. So if you read through the CPO notice, it should be clear if there is a specific request you'd like to send over to us related to something on the job aid, you can do that, but no, the notice of award form is not required. It is simply a posting of the exempt notice. And someone says, can I just use the spreadsheet with the required information? The answer to that is yes. Someone said, will the exempt notices be stuck in our ready to open bid in our agency queue, or can, oops, hold on, or can we move them out once it has been posted the required time period? You should be able to move them out. Let me follow up on that and see if I can provide any specific details on how to do that in terms of them being in your ready to open. Making a note. So, okay, got that. Okay. And then someone wanted to know if there's an ETA on when the enhanced release off master process will be available for Granger again. At this time, I don't have any update on that. As far as I know, the enhanced release process is not available for the Granger punch-out. but if it does become available, I will let you know. But I'm sorry, at this point, I have nothing on that. So, and then there was another question that came to me privately, so I'll respond back to that one privately. So other than that, if you have any other questions, please send them over to me now. And I'm going to leave the line open for just about a minute and wait for any additional questions. Okay, did not have any other questions come through, so that will be the end of today's session, and we will see you again in 2 weeks. Thank you very much.